This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your live market chat Monday, October 9th, 2023. Hopefully you are having an okay day. At worst, I know there's a lot going on in the world. A lot of people are talking about what's going on in the Middle East, and we're going to jump into that. Just wanted to give people a few seconds to come on in. If you have any questions, again, please don't be scared to ask a question. Obviously, lots of potential to ask questions anywhere in the chat. Hit me up if you're on the Discord room. Don't be scared as well. Yeah, so just give me a couple seconds. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Hopefully it's all good. And yeah, we'll get into it. So hopefully you're having an amazing day. It's a interesting day. Interesting day, that's for sure. I mean, I'm honestly not surprised that we found some more of the buyers. Because again, if you watched, good, cool, got the mic check. If you watched social media and the narratives going over the weekend, was that this was the start of the October fall run. And I think a lot of people in their mind just kind of have this, I don't know the best way to describe it other than this belief that it's going. And again, I'm not going to make fun of some of the people who used to be here who are pushing that narrative. And I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens. Again, we can be wrong. I tell people that all the time. Right? Like, we can be wrong, but it just seems like that narrative is really getting pushed. Like, oh, everything's going to be fine. It's like, no, it doesn't really feel like it. If that makes sense. So at this point, I think, you know, as I've said many of times, define your risk, limit what you're willing to lose, and, you know, you got to kind of just go with the flow here. And what we have here this week, I mean, this is the week before options expiration. It's interesting to know. And so at this point, what we do know, or at least, again, I'm not really digging too deep in what's going on over there, other than I know now there's a front with Lebanon being attacked. It seems like, and this is just my opinion, again, I'm subject to be wrong. I feel like Israel feels like they're backing into a corner because the U.S. is weak. We're not really doing anything. We've been giving money to their adversaries. Now, again, whether you believe in this is right or correct politically, I don't care. This is just kind of stating what I think is my opinion on this. And so it feels like they're going ham. They're not going to be backing off. And so I don't know what that ultimately means near term, but it's definitely going to slow down travel. It's definitely going to slow down tourism. It's going to slow down people from wanting to take trips anywhere. This is hard to know. And oil is going to clearly hold up. Gold near term, again, it's always been temporary. If you've been following me for years, you know, like when these things happen, gold spikes and it gives it right back. You know, we really need to get the Fed pivot. Bonds, I mean, they found a little buying, dollar up, VIX. It's almost like, again, you know, I think Eric said in the Discord room, it feels very similar to, you know, the whole San Francisco earthquakes, where people are like disbelief the first day, and then a couple days later, like the real damage and the real pain in the market showed up. Well, what's up, P-Bird? Hello, Shannon. And so at this point, I would just keep in your mind, don't trust anything, but let's review some things here. Just for semantics, again, if you're new to the channel, link to the Discord room here. I'll drop it. I will copy it and then drop it in the link if you want to join at any point. What's up, Scotty? Come on in. Again, if you join, please participate. There's a lot of people who just, again, and my moderators are going to dump you in like a day or two. If you don't participate, you don't need to be here. I can just drop this on Twitter and you can follow. If you're, again, new to the channel, YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Notification bell will give you alerts that these are popping up. Again, posting what's going on the Twitters. Yeah, not a ton going on there, again, because I'm still kind of just trying to interpret things. I don't really want to make a ton of judgments yet. But I'm also not surprised by the market kind of retesting. We talked about over the weekend the levels, right? The levels kind of matter. And so, again, check out the tradingagent.com, Marcus Goldman 5.4. Oh, God, I got to update this. I don't know why I don't ever do it. And then if you're worried about your brokerage, I'm telling you, Interactive Brokers ain't going anywhere. I trust them. Again, everyone's a risk, I guess, at some point, but ultimately, be careful. Fed funds. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, that's what everyone thinks. World War III is breaking out. I don't know. I really doubt it, but we'll see. Bitcoin chopping. Oil, not surprised. I mean, it's interesting to held our areas and it's bouncing. How much more can it go? Good question. Good question. Again, I mean, it was going probably bouncing anyway, whether World War III broke out or not. Nat gas popping on this again. I mean, some people took a trade. I mean, it makes sense now that it's breaking out of the base. It's just, again, what's the upside? We don't know. I mean, a lot of this. I mean, World War III breaking out. I mean, I don't. Again, I think this is isolated in the Middle East, honestly. I don't think there's going to be World War III. But I'm not surprised Israel's going ham because they're backed into the corner. The U.S. is weak. The U.S. is not leading. The U.S. is not telling these idiots to stop. What if you extend the trend line on that gas? What do you mean? This one right here. This one's a little like tough to, because you could kind of say, I mean, it broke it there. I mean, there. I don't know. I mean, again, I think nat gas is one of those things. It's going to be very geopolitical, so just be careful. That's all I can say. Right? Yeah. I mean, it's just the zone. This is the zone that matters. You know, what happens when it gets into this upper threes. I mean, that's clearly, come on, something like, get in there, somewhere in there. I don't know why it's not stretching down. Thank you. We're not that far off. So looks like it's close. So yeah, I'm unsure what's going to happen. Again, and again, I don't want to sound, again, because everyone's like, oh, you sound like a conspiracy theorist, but anyone in the military knows that Israel has cameras, has security, has radar, has satellites watching everything that's on the borders. And somehow all this happened and they didn't catch it. This is like where I'm always a little follow the money here. And then it's like, look at the military stocks. They're all at support and they rallied. Just very curious, because anyone who knows in the military knows like Israel runs that very tightly, and for them to like make a mistake and let some of this stuff start, it just kind of smells fishy, and that's all I'll say on that. So hopefully I don't get in trouble for that, but that's just kind of what I've known. People in the military are very adamant that like something doesn't make sense here, because Israel is like top of the line technology with all this stuff and detecting what's going on, and for them not to know that these attacks were coming and for them to take such kind of damage is very, very weird. So anyway, that's all I'll say about it. Someone said they let it happen. I agree. Something's not right. So yeah, it's all suspect, right? I mean, that's just honest. Caterpillar. Okay, so again, let's talk about shorting. Jump back in, some cat here. Apple. Again, let's get into the trading of it. Looking at 2-day range. I mean, could you get to the 50-day? I mean, the 50-day hasn't been as important, right? It just hasn't. And so I don't really put a lot of gusto into it. But again, do what you got to do. I mean, this is the top of my support box, and here's the VAP zone. If you go look at some intraday stuff, I was watching this like as we're speaking. You can see like there's a lot of like, yeah, I guess I should probably go back even further. It's an interesting area. I'll just pull this out. You can see, like, could we get up to 80? I mean, it's always possible, but there's a lot of, I don't know, resistance up in this. I started shorting some here in like the mid 176s. It makes sense to me. It makes sense. And now I'm liking the way that's forming. Because again, I mean, no matter what's going on, it's like, are people running to Apple for safety? Yeah, someone was selling SPY closed on Friday. Yeah, dude, people were selling the crap out of SPY on Friday afternoon. Yeah, someone knew. Someone always knows. Guggenheim trying to get back up. Oh, oops. Let me just go back, started the daily. Again, retesting the high. I mean, is it going to get to the 130 and 140? Tough to know. FedEx, this one is a good short working out. Oil going higher, instability, doesn't look good. Caterpillar, oh yeah, I've talked about that rallying. Stopped out. I took my profits on MU and rolled them into Apple. Like it was down a little. I'm like, you know what? Apple just seems easier, but it hasn't been cooperating. Womp, womp, womp. Tesla, I know some folks who got up there and was like, yeah, this kind of looks like a left-right combo. There you go. But that's the candle's green, so it's a little confusing, but it is still kind of left, doji right, and here it comes. I know it's green. I know. Yes, I see it's very green. Oil names, again, it's not really much to say other than we talked about if you were short, you probably need to take some profits. We said showed it on the oil charts. Just keep an eye on it. XOP, like look at the irony. It gets to the trend line, 100-day bounce. Now, how high can it go? This is where, again, I don't know if I really want to short these names now based on geopolitical turmoil. I mean, ExxonMobil seems like a loser in my mind because they're going to get penalized for PXD. I mean, if you get certain extreme levels, maybe. But you just got to be careful. I mean, if you're wading into that pond, you're going natural gas, you're going gold, you're going oil, you're going that stuff, just be careful. Because, again, what you think can happen and going to happen could flip on a dime. Just like nobody, in my mind, thought Israel would go do what they're doing. Because I was like, they would catch these guys before they even try. Like, they probably fire rockets over every day. Maybe bottle rockets some days, but I mean they're always mad. Why are you mad, bro? Just always mad. Just kind of is what it is, sadly. Gold, I mean, again, you can start looking at silver. Sorry, let's go silver, like 20. It's like silver. Look at some of these, and again, it's like the miners are melting as the day goes on. Again, don't buy the miners, please. Please don't buy them. Gold back at I mean, I guess that fib is not correct. Let's actually draw it like the move is over. Proper style. Don't buy miners until the Fed's pivots. It's kind of a, it's a liquidity thing. It really becomes one. I guess that is the 50 fib is right there. I mean, it's like broken record. It's like I'm watching AG, literally low of the day. It's like these names got nothing. They got nothing. There's credit issues or global conflict. Like these companies couldn't get funded. Countries might overtake them. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong. It's just not the time. And it's like GDX. Oh, that's the low of the day. Oh, not surprised. Gap up, Rojo. Yep, wait till the dust settles. And again, it's almost like, again, I love the narrative, and this is the thing, and maybe I've been doing this stuff for too long, that I love when everybody hates gold. And like, remember the narratives when like Bitcoin's taken over and then all of a sudden what happened? Gold bottoms and it rips. Everybody hates gold. Like, the inflation's gone, right? Like, that'll be the narrative. Like, the inflation's gone, don't buy gold. But then the Fed's pivoting. And it's like, zing! And it's like, what happened? It couldn't go up when there was inflation. And now the inflation's gone, it's going down. Yeah, it's a liquidity game. Oops. Does that make sense? Does this make sense? Hopefully, trying to get other people to understand, like, you got to let off of that stuff. Now, again, geopolitically, it could bounce. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, short gold. No, just leave it alone. If you got it long and you bought it because you saw the contracting action down here, and again, someone knows something. Hey, Dem Diggs, thanks, buddy. Someone knows something. Well, then what? Just kind of leave it alone. That's my opinion. Again, like, I don't... It's... Remember how we say fighting your own instincts, your own gut, internal feelings, going against your authentic self, knowing like you're breaking your own rules? It might not be your rule, but it's mine. I just leave it alone. And if I'm wrong, yeah, I'm not like sitting here like, you idiot. There's always another gold trade. SMH hit the 150-day, nothing today. Meta, someone was saying head and shoulders tops, and it's like, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Yeah, it's really looking like it. Sorry, I'm just starting to think about some of the trades as we're rolling through. Netflix, I saw it was up earlier. I'm like, I guess people are expecting to Netflix and chill during World War III, Scott? Is that what? Is that the trade? Reference your World War III reference? Netflix and chill. Let's watch it live. I don't know. And again, I'm making light of something that I probably shouldn't, but just for everybody out there, trust me, prayers, best luck with everything. It just sucks. I mean, I don't know. That whole area has been what's the best way to describe it? It's just been a constant battle for what seems like hundreds of years, and it just never ends. And I feel go out. My love and compassion goes out for the people involved in it. It just sucks, man. Just sucks. Why trade things based on geopolitical developments if they're lower risk trades? There are probabilities that go in your favor without geopolitical turmoil. Exactly. That's the best way to describe it. Trades that, again, FedEx go down, Caterpillar go down, Apple go down, Guggenheim go down, semis go down, materials depends, right? Again, that's where I'm saying, like, okay, well, just lay off materials. You don't have to short them, right? Financials, probably a good short, right? Like, they got exposure all over the place. Airbnb, like, that makes sense. I know it's popping today, but 3-day range is the 200-day, but that ain't nobody want none of that. Ain't nobody want none of that. AMT, okay. American Tower, I haven't looked at it. Again, it's not in my rotation. Wells Fargo, just kind of chopping around. Housing stocks, yeah, still basing here. Transports, I mean, I would think they'd get a bounce here, but they're just not. I mean, I guess the airlines are just not doing well with today's news. I mean, again, how many people have flights all over the world going, you know what? I'm gonna maybe I'm not gonna so aim at. Oh, okay. Maybe I'm not. TLT, Adam. So can I ask you a reference to this question? Why is actually anyone know anything, or is it dumb money? Let's since I don't recognize you, no worries. I'd love to just pick your brain and dig in deeper with your question if you don't mind. Why is TLT up today? Does anyone actually know anything? I'm dumb money. Oh, well, I mean, we're technically all dumb money, right? Are you long it? Not owning it? Looking at it? Have an opinion? Thoughts? We can go into that because I think it's a good question. TLT, as we said, there's tons of volume down here. Remember, volume price analysis. Market makers are having to assume accumulation because they got to buy this stuff. They can't just let it keep dumping. I mean, they can, but the volume's so heavy. Someone, like, at some point, there's not enough liquidity just to go back and forth between traders. Like, somebody's got to sit here and go, oh, all right, I got to buy it. So they'll try to mark it up. Oh, you were long, your hands got weak. I mean, that's part of the game. So again, I wouldn't get frustrated, but now that it's up, I mean, between you and I would think it'd be up more today. But maybe that's the problem. Oil's up, commodities up, CPI's coming, inflation. Everyone knows, like, is 5% a good enough yield? I don't know. Is it worth it? Again, I mean, and this is the thing, we're all just posturing and speculating and throwing out our best insights. The reality here is that pretend this wasn't a trade with a name and it's just whatever, any generic ticker symbol. If I saw the volume down here, the market makers, I would expect at worst it's going to chop and they're going to have to distribute something, or it's going to bounce and then chop around. And here's the thing about the TLT and like bonds, like tops and bottoms are pretty choppy. And this is what I could kind of see. I'd be concerned with people in the bonds because until the Feds really pivot and go full liquidity, I don't know why anyone would really go heavy into bonds, because you don't have the Fed backstopping. This is one of the ways that people always, like, why they would buy bonds heavy is like, oh, the Feds are going QE. Well, then they're going to have to buy bonds. So let's buy them now and then sell them to them later. Does this make sense? And at this point in the cycle, Feds are going, unwind QE as fast as we can so we can restart it. And that's why maybe this has been so, excuse my language, effing messy. Is we were like, no way. No way I want bonds. No way. And remember, banks are sitting on a mark to market. I mean, imagine if you got a treasury that's yielding 2 or 3%, 1%. I mean, what was the lowest they I can't remember. Whatever. You don't want that. Who are you going to sell that to? Who wants that? Oh, you want that? I mean, again, mark to market, that stuff is very devalued. Like, I don't want those bonds, right? Do you want those bonds? Does anyone here want a bond that yields 2 or 3%? Imagine if you've been buying those from the Fed for years and selling them back and buying them and selling. And now you're sitting there like, oh, we bought all these bonds, and oh, they couldn't keep rates low. Crap. Uh-oh. And now we need to raise capital, and now we need a, I mean, long story short, you just can throw all sorts of things into it. Not good. We all agree? No bueno. Not good. So, again, I opened it up to questions. Anyone have any thoughts, concerns? I know Jay Solstice was saying he was looking at Amazon. It just flashed green, so it's hitting high of the day. Man, 100-day would be the just juicy one. But you can tell, like, there's definitely some, like, Pinterest here, what I would call it, like pinning action. This area matters. That's all I can say. Where is the flight to safety if not bonds? It's been the dollar, my friend. It's absolutely been the dollar. That's where it's been. Remember the bonds were like trading in a range for a long time, and then dollar bill, y'all. Then they ran into AI. Safety. Again, keep in mind, money market funds at this level, they're not punitive to some people. So that's where, again, I think we've all seen that. Like, the money market fund levels are pretty high. And now a lot of people say that's bullish. But if you actually look at a bear market with higher interest rates, which, again, you can't compare that to 2008, people get pretty comfortable in that. Especially when the yields start getting like 5, 6%. Now it's not, now you don't have, I mean, obviously you do have some sort of risk, but it is a money market account. People feel like much more secure about it because you're not like you're selling it, you're trading it, right? That's where people are hiding, in my opinion. And now that's where people are going to say the next bull market's about to start. And it's like, okay, maybe not. Because, again, I don't see how anything really dictates people wanting to take risk when companies are running into tremendous amount of issues, whether it comes from global issues, government regulation issues, employment issues, like companies, AI issues, cutting jobs. I mean, unemployment, interest rates. I mean, it's one of those things where, again, usually the market does go up, but it feels more like cathartic. And this is the 1970s dysfunctional market that went sideways and choppy and sloppy and big ups, big downs. It feels like we're due for the next big down. That's my opinion. So if you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, you want to challenge my opinion, I don't mind. 5% bonds after inflation and taxes. There's not much a real return. No, banks are bag holding long bonds at much higher rates for overhead selling. Yeah, there's a lot of. See, this is the thing here. Should you buy bonds? I mean, if you can get a money market account, why buy bonds? Again, if you think bonds are going to get bought, and you want to take the risk that they could lose value, again, it doesn't seem like there's much downside, but we didn't think bonds were going to be dropping from even, like, remember, watch the areas. Like, did we really think bonds would take out this level? Yeah, CDs are pretty nice. CDs nuts. Sorry, one of my nicknames is Danny D's nuts. No, short-term CDs are not bad. I agree. I mean, there's just a lot of other places competing for money right now. And people, when they're scared, they just want security. They want to get their money back. It feels like, yeah, my money market, same here. Mine's paying 5.4% playa. Marcus Goldman, hello. Yeah, that thing, it feels like they can't go lower. Yeah, short terms are 5.5. Yeah, I mean, those are. If you're really worried, that's better than zero. I mean, I know a lot of people go in their mind and go, well, I don't want to keep it in a bank. And it's like, well, if you get in the right money market, it's better than the zero that you were getting. Zero, literally, like donuts, 0.01 or whatever Chase and these banks were offering. Exactly. We know inflation hurts poor people versus wealthy, so 5% for a wealthy person is pretty good. Yeah, why? 5% for a wealthy person basically pays the bills, covers the insurance on the yacht, covers the expenditures, gives the kids play money. Yeah, I mean, it is pretty good. I completely agree with your assessment of such. Apple savings 4.15. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, what can you say? There's competition for money. That's the thing. For many years, when interest rates are low, that's why the bull markets were so raging hard-ons like Viagra. Well, you had no, and this is why it eventually got into real estate. Is like everyone was looking for a way to make a return on investment because you couldn't get it in a bank. So people started buying real estate, and they bought commercial real estate, and they bought stocks, and they didn't care about the valuations. And that's why you knew as soon as like COVID money went in, it was like, oh shit, that's a bubble. And then once that liquidity starts coming out, and even if it's not even coming out, if it's just not sustainable, there's only one direction you must go for a while. It's either side, and it's really down to chop, right? You got to digest that move because now the market's not, at some point trading at a fair valuation, and you can get it based on all sorts of cape rates and cap rates, and you could get into fundamentals, but it's like, in my opinion, just the market's not cheap because it's all based on a few names. So, any other thoughts, questions, concerns? Feel free to, if you want, we can talk about anything. I am always here for you guys to interpret whatever. Again, T-bills, again, I just don't want government risk. I just would, if you're going to go really short term, I guess you could buy the TLT with a stop. If that's really what floats your boat. Come on, Apple. You do it, you dirty dog. Dirty dog. Dog. Do other countries want our bonds? That's the question, right? I don't think they do. Not like they used to. China ain't buying them. Some of the countries around the world ain't buying them. Japan, I feel like Japan's screwed. They got to prop up their own economy. It's not the same kind of demand, Adam. That's a good point that you just brought up. It's not the same. Oh, Meta, yeah, dude, Meta's now showing, and again, it's like, hopefully you had stops, or you have time, but now it's really looking like we said this last week. I'd be like, man, if it gets back up to this level, that would be a gift. Sucks. I'm sadly it did, but that's what stops. That's where I moved on from. Like, son of a bitch. This thing, it makes no sense. Again, I'll keep my words of Meta quiet, but they have definitely, again, your scalping share is cool. I've never, people don't realize, and here's my experience with them. My account is not able to monetize because they didn't like that I posted facts about COVID. And now my account is basically shadow banned. And so for forevermore, I will always tell them to lick my balls. Oops, excuse me. Did I say that out loud? They can kiss my, you know what? That's not cool. Not like I was causing problems. It's just like, this is the data from doctors. And again, this wasn't like early on. It was like later. I'm like, dude, why are people doing this? Why are they still getting involved? It's like, do you not see that the money this is all about the money now? It wasn't about anything. I don't know. It's like shutting down businesses. Like, I'm pro business, I'm pro, like, let people live their life. That's what it came down to for me. And it pissed me off because, for example, like my sister has a yoga studio. They shut her down. But where's her income coming from now? You're going to backstop her income while she's shut down? Nope. That pisses me off. And if you know anyone like that, you might relate. It's not cool. Google search is worthless now. That's not what Google's anymore, I guess. Still, yeah. There's everything isn't what it once was, right? Like, everything evolves. So that's kind of the whole purpose of surrendering and letting go to, like, beliefs. Like, at some point, you're gonna be wrong about a stock or the market, all right? Like, you can't always be right, and you have to, like, just acknowledge it and just be okay with it. And maybe inflation flares up and we go back to like 7-8% CPI. Who the hell knows, right? But maybe that's why bonds aren't really that happening. Like, maybe this whole, like, skirmish bleeds out, and again, I don't know if it'll be World War III, but maybe it'll be like a proxy war where everyone fights in that area. It's like not coming to the U.S. or overseas, but it's like maybe oil spikes, and since we've been undersupplied and our strategic oil petroleum reserve is at levels of incredible lows long term, maybe that's the problem. Anyway, again, I don't want people to think I'm being political. I hate both sides. Please acknowledge if you know that. And so it's like people like, who hate both sides now are considered extreme, which is crazy because, like, I don't know, you see the commentators that are getting destroyed because they will not get in line with the narrative. That's when it just tells you something's a little fishy. That's all I can say on that. Any other questions, thoughts, concerns? FedEx, I mean, I know people are thinking the 100-day, but I'm thinking, I mean, you've been up here for months. I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't just cut right through it next time. Being money in all politics. Yep. Oh. URA has a dip by URA. Oh, fuck no. No way. No. Layoff material name. Again, this is like the whole concept. You want to chase oil and gold and all these names. Again, no. I have no desire to play in the materials names. Again, wait for the Fed pivot. No. No. I mean, that looks like shit. So you have the blow off top. You have the big volume at the highs trapping. Now you can't go over the 20-day. I mean, this looks really distributive at the highs. Now, I'm not saying like who knows what price we'll go back to, but I wouldn't buy it. Again, it's just because it's like I've been there. I've been in that basket where I'm going, hey, I'm going to buy commodities because of the war. Well, okay, that works sometimes. And then sometimes it's like, well, if it's this little skirmish in the Middle East, it's actually going to cause probably more pain to global economies than like a big full-on war that would like really drive big demand, right? God, I hate talking about this topic because, again, it just sucks, that we have to talk about it. But it's just... your guess is as good as mine. And this is the thing, like, the hardest thing about this stuff, Adam, and because you're making your points and giving me an opportunity to talk about things. And what you'll see, and this is what gets really hard and tricky, is that things will escalate, and then all of a sudden rumors of ceasefire. And then you'll get rumors of this and rumors of that. And then the market will do this. And it's like, your head's going to be so spinning so hard, you don't know what left is right, up, or down. And I've been in that. And so for me, it's like, why don't I just trade stuff that I just know for a fact is going to get penalized by anything going on, the sniff of anything. And if there's a ceasefire, I mean, there's still long-term effects, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, the psychology would be, it's like, oh, it paid me, so I should buy it back. No, trust me, I'm completely understanding of that kind of mindset. But up against these levels up here, again, longer term, if you disappear for a year and you want to come back and then say, well, I held it, you're probably going to be okay. Maybe even 2 years. I mean, whenever the Fed pivots, because I think it's coming faster than people think. Like right now it's projected into June of 2024, but we all know how that starts. Like every month every week or couple of days, it'll start creeping up where that time frame odds will start changing. And, it was like September of next year at one point, and it's at July, and then it's now it's June, and it's like next month it'll be May, and then it'll be March, and it's like, it only can come up faster than they want it to, or than the projections, because that means things are probably going to get way worse. And they kind of should be. Seems like nuclear war is bad for URA. Trying to think of like all perspectives on this. I mean, maybe the whole word nuclear kind of gets stigmatized. Maybe I get what you're saying with that. Maybe, maybe it's thrown in all boats. Like nuclear, can't have anything nuclear. Let's go back to the Stone Age. Let's go back to electricity only, and like fueled by petroleum and gas. Let's limit ourselves. Let's get rid of solar too while we're at it. Clearly those stocks don't like war either, right? Tan never likes, I guess. It's just never, solar's dead. We talked about this. People got so mad. I was like, okay, you don't realize the past. We zoomed out of the monthly and showed folks like it can get absolutely cooked. Where's that line even bring us to? Ooh, 20s. Okay. Again, that doesn't mean it has to go down there, but zoom out on the monthly. Remember we talked about ETFs come out near the high? Yeah, there you go. Player. Look at that. And now obviously there's more share count, diluted. It's not going back 300. Does it hold the 100-month? I don't know. I don't assume the worst with these names. Like, it's going to get fugly. All right, any other thoughts, questions, concerns? If not, I'll wrap it up. Again, I can always talk about psychology if you want to talk about topics, you want to talk about real estate, you want to talk about anything. I'm here or there. Wouldn't that mean it's a good time to get long-term high-rate bonds before the rate cut? Dem Diggs, when's the rate cut? June of 20... As of right now, June of 2024. How short term of rates? Maybe long-term bonds. Oh, of course, Dan. I feel for you on Meta. That's why I just stopped out. But if you have shares and you're just, again, know your risk. Don't get caught believing that we can't be wrong. Because again, everything about the trade makes sense. Like, Meta deserves to get cooked. Again, long-term bond rates. Here's the thing though. If you want to stick in the TLT, my just biggest warning would be you might not have you might miss out on a lot of other trades potentially by sticking in that near term. Because as we've said many times, oopsie doopsies, TLT. Okay. It could be a while before. it could base out and it could take a while. Just like when it peaked, it just chopped out. Big blowout, chop around. Again, but you're talking about fundamentals, Adam. The world can live without any of those stocks. Those companies don't have to go out of business, just like in the tech bubbles of the previous and commodity bubbles. It's not like these companies went out of business, but their stocks got absolutely fucking destroyed. Because after the momentum is left out of a Google or an Amazon, or back in the day when it was the oil and gas names or the coal names or the ag names or the banks or the housing stocks, again, the companies didn't go anywhere. Or say in the 2000s, the Cisco and the Microsofts and the Intels and the GEs and all that shit, IBMs. It didn't mean the companies didn't go anywhere. They absolutely got obliterated, and their stocks did, and that's gonna happen to Google or Amazon again. Where's Amazon's money made? In AWS, Google. What the law of large numbers? Remember, people pay for growth. What's Google's dividend? Just curious. 0 still? So what's the purpose of holding it? You're not getting paid to hold it. So that's how people look at it. And that's why sometimes even gold, people I can't buy gold because it doesn't pay a dividend. Okay, well, it has to be a liquidity thing. It has to be a fundamental thing. Well, fundamentals and stocks are different at times because, again, the law of large numbers, like a company like Google, Apple, Amazon, Netflix at one point, right? You pick the name of the leader. The law of large numbers kicks into effect. Once you're at the top of the mountain, everybody's trying to cut you down. And they'll just, it's the death of a million paper cuts, essentially, right? They will, think about it. Stealing 1% market share from Apple or Google or what is a business, potentially. Think about phones or search or some sort of little niche. That's how it works. Yeah, Apple is getting frothy. Again, I think people are talking that they fixed the phone because of software issues with a software update. Again, I can't tell you if that works or not, but my guess, if it was overheating, just like any engine, the best way to reduce heat in an overheating engine would be to do what? Throttle down the power. Take your foot off the gas. So if you're buying a throttled iPhone, I think you're going to be annoyed. PLRT is still hanging around with its cultish polishing. I still like it. PLTR, I mean, I don't even pay attention to it. Cultish, I mean, this thing's been, if I remember right, dead for a long time. No? Yeah, I mean, this thing's cooked. It's like dead money. It looks like just looks like this right in here. Right in this. Looks the same. Yeah, it looks the same. But again, it's like, and here's the hard thing that people will never understand about trading until you get burned thoroughly. Holding just to hold is dangerous because you're putting yourself in fire. You're putting yourself in harm's way. There's no way to describe it. Sometimes cash is by far the best place to go because also what you find out is that other stocks you might like become heavily discounted, or maybe the narrative shift, or maybe the business trends change. Maybe anything. Maybe that stock isn't what it was. Maybe someone leaves and then they duplicate them and they do it better than them. I mean, there's so many little things that can happen where that's where people go, well, every stock is an Apple. Every stock's an Amazon. Every stock's a Google. No. Most tech stocks are or they do okay in bull cycles that go with them, like chip cycles. Like when, I mean, you could, any chip, even except basically Intel, was on fire. Okay, when it's done, now it's like, uh-oh, what are you guys really going to be doing? Because again, we've said this a million times. Once the chip cycle peaks, now everyone's producing as many chips as possible. They're all trying to undercut each other in price. They're always trying to upgrade speeds, and no one knows who's making what. And eventually, all you see is endless cutting in prices, because that's what technology is. That's the hardest part about technology. The more it sticks around, the lower the price they eventually have to charge, because everybody will duplicate them. Now, sometimes there's barriers to entry, but just in general, like, there's only so much growth. Unless Google creates something new, I don't know. Apple, I mean, what's Apple doing that's new? Driving cars? I don't want a fucking driving car. I mean, I barely, yeah. I don't trust technology like that. Right? Like, what's the next big future thing? At some point, it's going to be bio. It's got to be some sort of bio to get people to live forever. Or, man, you can, like, create a prosthetics or, like, a new arm out of nothing, like, regrowing. But again, remember, there's never any money in solving problems in healthcare. So that's always, like, the problem. You know, it's like, once you create the solution, there's no money in it. That's why I always, like, joked with people about COVID. I'm like, if this thing was really working, it wouldn't have any money in it. Like, you need COVID to continue to blow up. You need people to continue to get sick. If it actually cured people, there's no money in that. There's no long-term sustainable business model and a one-time cure. Come on, guys, gals. I always tell you that in medicine. Like, it doesn't work like that. It's about treating symptoms. People don't understand that. You could have this conversation for days and weeks and people get really mad about it. And I'm like, I know people in medicine, know people in the businesses. You talk about it with people in the C-suite. No one will talk about it publicly, but when it comes down to the number crunching, folks, that's what they always recommend, guys, to the people in charge. You know, if you cure something, there's only so much money you're going to make. But if you can give people a pill that makes them feel better for a while or forever, but doesn't solve the problem, even better. All right. Yep, Shannon, exactly. So I'm going to let it go on that because someone will be like, you're an asshole. You can't say that. It's like, okay. Just keep in mind, you cannot patent anything grown in nature, like when it comes to like pharmaceuticals. So that's why anytime you see people saying using natural remedies, again, some of it is snake oil. No one's going to sit and go, oh, it's all real. But there's a reason why they don't patent. They can't patent. Like, there's no money, and they don't push that stuff, right? Natural stuff. Oh, we can't patent it, so we don't have protective capacity to charge what we want. All right, on that note, before the stream kicks off and I disappear, you guys have an amazing day. I'll see you in the Discord room. Don't be surprised if, again, it's like kind of we're anticipating. Maybe there might be a little slump at the end of the day. We'll see what happens. All right, I love you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you again for all the love and support, generous donations. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You know where I'm at. Peace out. Later, guys. See you, Shannon.